So Hong Kong protests are still going on, and as recently as 2 days ago, the clashes between protesters and police have gotten even worse.
Somebody set on fire.
Yeah, someone was set on fire. He was taken to a hospital. I'm not sure if he passed on or not, but someone was shot. It's getting pretty violent there, and you know me, I'm totally on the side of the protesters because in '97 when they had their independence declared from China and from I believe it was Britain.
Yeah.
And when they had that declared, then okay, now we're an autonomous state. Like, allow us to operate the way we operate, but to
two systems, one country.
Yeah, two systems, one country. And when they introduced this extradition bill, if I'm saying that word correctly, when they introduced that, what were they supposed to do? I mean, because the Chinese government is so powerful, particularly over a much smaller state like Hong Kong, where they can say anybody is a criminal that needs to come and be tried in front of Chinese courts. And, I don't blame them for protesting that. I don't blame them for protesting police brutality. There's a lot going on around the world, but out of all the protests that are going on right now, this one to me, as well as the one in Chile, are the top two that bear watching, because what they're doing right now is something that should be commended. It's something that should be praised, that they're fighting authoritarianism.
They are. When they were separated in 1997,
Mm-hmm.
they were promised, I believe, 40 or 50 years of the rights that they already had under British rule, which were freedom of speech, freedom to protest, and things like that. Basically, like our Bill of Rights is what they had, and they are governed by a committee or a body that is usually just some pro-China, red crony being picked and put there, but they protested again. What was it, last year in 2018? It lasted like 100 days. And this one, then they stopped it. This one's going like 5 months strong.
Yeah, this one is pretty powerful protest.
Yeah, and they're a lot of the things they're going for is just basic rights, suffrage, having people on the actual committee that they want, because they don't have a total suffrage there. Like, they can't totally vote completely. They have like a selective vote, but the things that they can vote on are relevant. Yeah. So it's like the fake inclusion, like, oh yeah, you're there. Yeah, you're a part of it. But all the real stuff is decided by what, like 8 people or something?
Yeah, they have a small board, and they're the head of Hong Kong, her name is escaping me right now, but you're absolutely right about her being pro-China. I mean, that's a part of the new protest now. They want her removed. They want her to resign from her position, and they want someone who is of the people of Hong Kong as head of Hong Kong. And that makes sense. What you cannot do is give people freedoms and rights and then come in and take them away. You're always going to get a violent backlash about that. People are not. That's like in this country, if all of a sudden your boss came up to you and said, hey man, you can't wear, a Chicago Bears hoodie anymore. And it's like, wait, dude, this is my freedom of expression. And they're like, well, yeah, they just passed a new law saying you pretty much have to do whatever we say. Yeah. And you have to pretty much live under our rule. Yeah. And for people in Hong Kong, their issues are multifaceted, but they're, again, lining up a lot with what people around the globe are protesting. Authoritarianism, being told what to do, inequalities, not getting equal rights for voting and having access to the same thing that people of China have. And they should fight this bill. They should continue to fight this bill. I know that it's becoming more of a you're taking more of a risk for your life to fight the extradition bill. And
but if you don't fight it, you're risking your life, because
one way or the other.
This Chinese version of the Gestapo KGB coming in, taking you out in the middle of the night, and then
just because
facing an administrative court, and it's no evidence. You're really not going to be able to defend yourself.
And Ping is a dictator too, so
you'll either be in jail or dead. Yeah, one of the two. And it's either they fight now or they don't. And then even when they're protesting, a lot of the things in the shops and things that they're vandalizing or destroying are Chinese national stuff, like at the ATM, business related to that.
Where they're pretty much continuously being controlled by China, one way or the other.
Yeah. It's China's playing puppet strings with Hong Kong via the board and trying to take away certain rights. Like in other parts of China, you can't be on Twitter like that.
You're right.
Everything
is censored. There's a huge censorship in China. Yeah.
Like you know what they want you to know. You see what they want you to see.
Yep.
And that is it. It could be a famine on one side of the country and nobody will know about it unless it's reported on outside media.
Or the slaughtering of Muslim people in China.
Yeah.
Which is not being covered at all.
That when they still slaughtering Tibetans.
Yes. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that absolutely, this is a huge censorship government. They want to control every aspect of China. And they clearly want to get rid of the two-state one system. I mean,
one state.
One
state.
System. They clearly want to get rid of that, and and I don't understand the reason why. Like China, you're already like powerful, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like to come and infringe upon people's rights
because they can. Well, because they have the power,
and that's the only reason to do it. It's just it's just
the only reason a bully bullies is because
they can.
People, they can. Somebody lets them bully them. If once you stand up to them, you punch a bully in the face. 9 times out of 10, that bully isn't a bully anymore.
Oh yeah. So for this time, they're punching China in the face, and China's just like, keep swinging, dude. Keep swinging.
China's a really big bully.
But you know, we really do hope to see rest. Like we hope to see this come to a peaceful end here soon, but it probably won't.
It won't.
This is the first time that in an international way, the Chinese government has to deal with such an explosive protest because they are so controlled and they're so concise with everything that they do, nip tuck, keep everything under wraps, and they can't control this story. They can't control this narrative
because of where it is, and it's out there. It's open. People are live streaming things, and it's that in the age of the internet, the information is everywhere. You can put something out there, and it can get retweeted and reshared over and over, and it gets reached to millions upon millions of people. Then it's on the news. Then it's a 24-hour news cycle. It's getting replayed over and over and over.
Yep.
At some point, China's going to have some pressure to do something, and if these people
withdrawing the bill is not enough either.
It's not. They should continue to extend like the rights that they've already got.
Yeah, like we're not gonna sit here and negotiate for what we already had to begin with.
And it's clear that it's a violation of human rights. Like at some point, somebody needs to bring this to the UN, and hopefully the UN does something.
The UN is going to do nothing. They're going to look at it, and they're going to, this is really bad. This is a violation of human rights, but we're not going to step in and stop you. We're just going to let you know what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, we're not going to fuck with China.
Yeah.
I get that. I understand that, but it's the process that should be followed. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it will be. I don't know if they'll. Well, I know they won't do anything even if it is. They probably won't even impose sanctions. Like,
you're right.
Who's going to sanction China? You sanction China, that affects the world economy. If they get sanctioned, that affects everybody because they manipulate the yen to. That's another topic.
And they were saying, so the Chinese protesters also have a motto of 5 demands, not one less. And so their demands are for a protest not to be characterized as a riot, which is right because that is an infringement upon freedom of speech and freedom of expression. If you're calling things a riot, then okay, well, the police now have a right to come through and say, oh, well, all we were doing was shutting down a riot.
Right.
the amnesty for arrested protesters, which again is, of course, because we know that China is going to be more than willing to violently prosecute these people. An independent inquiry into alleged police brutality, which is similar to what many activists are calling for here in the United States of America, where we want the Department of Justice to pretty much investigate any case of police brutality, particularly when police are killing people, Black people and Latino people. And we want an independent investigation into that here. So that's a very similar stance of people of Hong Kong and the people of the United States. And like you said, the implementation of complete universal suffrage. And the fifth demand that they had was the withdrawal of the bill. And it has already actually been met, but it's not enough for them. They want their other 4 points of rights to add on to what they already had.
Yeah, you look at, as we talk about things, and the more and more we talk about everything, the more and more you see that all of this stuff lines up almost universally.
There's a global protest going on that no one is, other than independent media,
right,
is covering.
Just again, I hate to sound like repeating myself. Yeah. It's the age of the internet.
It really is.
You don't need ABC, Fox, NBC to tell me anything. I can go look at it. I can go see it right now because somebody has their phone out. Somebody recorded it, or somebody's tweeting about it. It's on Instagram. At one point or another, it's going to be enough people that line up ideologically to create a more lasting and more impactful change.
Yeah, but their freedoms, which is called the Basic Law, is actually set to expire in 2047.
Right.
And right now it's unclear on what their status is going to be in 2047, which of course stuff like that always sounds like so far away, but in actuality, it's not that far.
It's not. It's a blink of the eye when you think of an actual time.
Particularly when we're talking about basic human rights. Like, this is...
Yeah, but when you got all this stuff, you got 50 years to do all that thing and enjoy it, and then, you're going to be Chinese after that.
Yeah, that's going to be it for our Hong Kong segment, but that's, again, another situation that we're hoping comes to a peaceful rest period, and that the people of Hong Kong get their rights in addition to the new rights that they're negotiating for.